911, what are you reporting?
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
My dog went flying through the air over the trees. I don't know how it did it.
From baffling missing 411 cases that leave us questioning reality to the elusive and legendary creatures like Bigfoot, we are here to discuss it all.
By God, if a hand come from the other side of that fence, grab this thing by the head and neck, just one-timed it.
1 o'clock in the morning, I'm awakened by lights. Bright lights. I'm talking about, Josh, the lights were so bright, it looked like daytime, so I thought it was the morning.
There's just something going around, attacking our sheep. And my grandma used to talk about this guy, Ketso, that means, Bigfoot in our language, so.
If you have ever found yourself captivated by the unexplained or intrigued by the mysterious, you are in the right place. Welcome to Mysteries Unknown. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live from Mysteries Unknown. I hope you guys are all doing well. We got a good show for you tonight. Got a couple things going to be happening on the podcast tonight. We have a special surprise guest coming on the show later. I don't even know who it is. Daniel won't tell me, so that's going to be fun. But they've been on the podcast before. I do know that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. As always, we got a lot of different Bigfoot encounters, a couple of Dogman encounters to get into. And just catch up with everybody in the chat. So if this is your first time here, let us know. What's up, buddy?
Dude, okay. I said, because I'm not giving you any hints, I said that this person has either been on your show or has been on my show or has been on both shows.
Well, I'm anxious to see who it is. So hopefully it'll be a good guest. I'm sure it will be, man. I'm excited to get into it and talk all things Bigfoot and just hang out with you guys and see who this guest is. Josh Hunter, good to see you, buddy. Jeff, good to see you. Christopher, it's always good to see you. Let's see.
Chris, Antonio, what's up, buddy?
Good to see you. Ashes to Antics, awesome. Good to see you. Just everybody here. Just so glad everybody's here. Greasebag McQueen, man, you rock. I am so glad to see you, buddy. But it's always good to catch up with everybody. I hope everybody's had a really, really good week. But I'm excited about this show. We always like to hang out and have fun with you guys and talk some Bigfoot. I know you got a couple of good stories, man. Why don't you tell us where all we're going to be going tonight as far as where these encounters are at?
Okay, let me see here. I've been busy, man. Like today, busy at work, busy doing this, busy doing that. My schedule, man, is just jam-packed. But I love it, man. Busy.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. Joe's good to see you, buddy.
So let's see here. These ones I got 2 in Kentucky, and I have one. Actually, all of them are in Kentucky. All
Sweet.
3 of them. So Mammoth
That's
Cave
awesome.
National Park. Let's see here. An encounter in near Knob Lick in Metcalfe County, Kentucky, and then Bullitt County. So just awesome. to let you know, guys, that our surprise guest is going to be probably bouncing in at 9 o'clock. So, Josh, love the background, by the way.
Yeah, man. I wish I was really there. That would be nice. That would be nice, man. Well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I got a shout out to. It's nice, dude.
See that polar bear?
Listen,
right
I keep waiting for something. That's awesome. I keep waiting for something to peek over that window at you one of these days, man.
Dude, listen, because I know it's against process and policies and whatever on Facebook, but listen, knowing me, what do you think I have sitting right here next to me? Like, for real.
I know what you got. I know what you got there. I know what you got. That's funny. Well, it would make for an interesting show, that's for sure. But Taff, what's up, buddies? Good to see you, man. I always like to see Taff on here. Taff is just, me and him go way back. He was on the very first episode. So, great guy, man. First and second, I believe. But let's see. I was in Mena, Arkansas riding not long ago. Josh, there's a lot of stuff that happens in Mena. I get some encounters sent to me from that area. If you guys don't know where Mena, Arkansas is, it's a very, what we call mountains, but really, really, really cool place, but perfect place for Bigfoot to hang out. And does everybody have their coffee? I got mine. I'm ready to go. Thanks, Wade. I appreciate it, man. But this is going to be a good show. I'm excited about it and excited to get into all things Bigfoot. Actually, guys, if this is your first time on the live, every Monday I drop an interview on this channel at about 11:30 Central Time. And I'm really excited about Monday's guest coming on the show. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be really, really exciting. And every Thursday we do these lives at 8:30 Central Time. So it's going to be a good one. I'm really excited about it tonight. So, all right, man.
You know why? You know why it's gonna be such a good show?
Why is that, man?
Because of our tribe and
That's
the
it?
105 and the 105 Club.
You know, what's funny is I've not had anybody ask me yet what that is. You guys got to go back at our channel, watch these lives to figure out. If you figure it out tonight, let us know. Yeah.
If you know what the 105 Club is, then let us know in the chat.
Yeah. Let us know. That goes way back. That was fun. Good show. I got to give somebody a special shout out though, man. Greasebag McQueen. A couple of lives back, man, Daniel and the guest Harley was going back and forth about all their hats. So Greasebag sent me something, guys. I got to show you this. He sent me a whole bunch of hats, like loads of hats. So I'm good to go now with hats. So I got to give him a shout out, man. He's an awesome guy. He's a this channel, always hooking me up. And I appreciate the support, man. So Daniel, don't be going out there and getting on your hats just to show me up. So he's gonna have to change hat. I like that hat though. Nice.
Well, I noticed that in Greasebag's profile picture, he's got one of these little scullies on.
He does, man. Those are cool. I used to have one of those. Those are pretty cool. Pretty cool. Check this, man. Look at this comment. I'm ready for Daniel's my favorite podcast. From Richard, go for it.
Man, Richard, thanks, buddy. Hey, I'm going to let you guys know. Hey, there's Tim. Dude, I'm telling you, Tim has sent me some crazy pictures and has told me some crazy stuff. So, Tim, whenever you're ready to go to come on my show, I'm going to make sure I compile everything and we're going to rock and roll. But
that'll be a good one.
Dan beat me in darts again. Hey, that's my buddy Sean from work. Bro, I didn't beat you. Lee beat you. I just we have a dart tournament at work and
oh, that's cool, man. That's super cool. Super cool. Well, guys, if you have an encounter you would like to send me or you would want something read on the show or would love to come on the show from Monday and be on the shows and be an interview, you can always email me. I'll put the little ticker at the bottom. It'll scroll through there. mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to have you guys on the show. Couldn't do it without you guys. Wyatt, what's up, buddy? He's been on the show before. Crazy interview. That was a good one. He had some crazy stuff happen. So
he did because he came on mine, and
I know
his show is going to be. I think it's already released, but just to let you know, why a buddy of yours emailed me today, and I emailed him back. So I look forward to having him on as well. And just so you guys know, like Josh, I also released content on Monday, but I also released it on Wednesday, and now I'm doing Fridays as well. This Friday is going to be a double release. So I'm not going to let any cats out of the bag. So I have one that I did like a week or so ago. And then my guest that I had tonight, I'm going to be working until I get it done. And I'm going to release it as well tomorrow. I release mine at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'll probably release his like at 1:05. So they'll be bam, bam, back to back. So
back to back. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You guys love this channel. You'll love his, man. He does a great job interviewing people. So, Joe, where can you get this hat? You can get this hat at Walmart. Believe it or not, that is where I found this hat at. So if you're referring to this one, maybe you're talking about Daniels. I don't know, but man,
What,
listen,
this one or
I don't
this
know.
one?
I don't know which one he's referring to, but I'm anxious to get into these stories, man.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. I know you guys are here to hear Bigfoot stuff, so I'm ready to jump right into it, man.
Well, I'm just letting you know that I'm like walking on cloud 9 right now. So,
Well, good.
okay, so let's do some. This one I found kind of odd. I think the way that it was handled could have been maybe handled a little better. So this is coming out out of Mammoth Caves National Park in Kentucky. The time, it was Sunday, July 28th at around in 2019. It was at the backcountry campsite within Mammoth Cave National Park. Campers Madeline Durand and her boyfriend Brad Ginn were at their tent. Then an unidentified man and his young son approached their tent. At around 1 a.m., Durand and Ginn were awakened by a man and his son shining flashlights into their tent. The man claimed that their campsite had been destroyed by what they were hearing. They thought was hearing strange noises. They believed that thing destroyed their camp. He says that they are right now camping in Bigfoot country. He displayed a firearm and warned the couple that if they heard gunshots, they should flee. Shortly after the warning, the couple heard the man exclaim, "There it is!" followed by a gunshot approximately 20 yards from their tent. Durand again decided to leave immediately, hiking the 5 miles back to their vehicle. They reported the incident to the park authorities upon reaching safety. Mammoth Cave National Park law enforcement rangers responded to the incident around 2 a.m. They made contact with all parties involved. While possessing a firearm in the park is legal, if compliant with Kentucky state law, discharging a firearm within the park is strictly prohibited under federal regulations. A park spokeswoman, Molly Shore, stated that no injuries occurred. The park remained safe for visitors and the incident was under investigation. Despite the man's claims, Durand again did not observe any creature. Durand mentioned, "We're not even believers," expressing doubt in the existence of Bigfoot. This incident highlights the challenges park authorities face in managing reports of alleged cryptid sightings, especially when they lead to potentially dangerous actions like discharging firearms. It underscores the importance of adherence to park regulations to ensure the safety of all visitors. See, that's bunk.
What's bunk?
Okay, do you think that some random guy is going to drag his young child, from his campsite to another campsite, exclaiming, "This is what happened. You guys need to get out of here. I have a gun, and if you hear me shoot, you guys need to run for your lives"?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Some of these stories, you read these and you walk away scratching your head, wondering what's up with some of these people, man, and the way they handle situations. But that's pretty crazy. Check it, look, guys. I know we normally wait a little longer to play some audio, but I wanted to play this audio for you guys and get your thoughts on it. This is from Alaska. I want to say, like in the early 2000s. Come across this the other day, so let me know what you guys think about this.
It's over here, too. It's coming from back there, too, behind us. See, that's a dog. You hear that?
Juno, stay here. Closer.
It's two of them.
What do you think, man?
What the heck was that? That ending, that scared the snot out of me.
Well, that's why I put it there. But these guys, they were out, I think, camping somewhere in Alaska. Now, couldn't find a whole lot of information out about it, but in my opinion, wolves definitely could be wolves. But pretty crazy stuff. I love to hear audio clips. So if you guys have any audio stuff you want to send over, please send it my way. I got to play this one. Harley's in the chat, so I got to play this. This is from one of Harley's encounters. That stuff gets me every time I hear it, man.
Dude, I am going to send you an audio file
Okay.
that is from a guest that I had on last night. Bro, this, it's crazy. I just sent it over to you via email.
Okay. All right. Francis, I thought that before. He said it sounds sad. I kind of got that feel. Like it was very sad. And then that's just I don't know, man. Being out in the woods and hearing something like that. No, thanks. No, thank you. All right. Let's see here. Let me get this downloaded and I'll get it uploaded to the show. If it'll let me.
Hey, Jeff, how cold is it there? I want to hear how cold you guys. Just hit me with how cold it is.
The truth will set you free. Hey, thanks for the comment. That's awesome. I love the name, by the way. And I'm glad you like the channel. 11 degrees in Tennessee. Whew.
5 degrees where Jesus is King is.
No,
you guys,
thank you.
Today was the first warm day we've had in like 5 days. It was a high of 22 today. But
22.
The last couple of weeks, we were having highs. A high, not a low, a high of like -17, -22. With the wind chill factor, we're looking at -37. Yeah. So
no thanks. You can have that stuff, man. I have zero desire. Zero desire for that. But I'm glad everybody's hanging out with us tonight. If you're just jumping on here, we do these lives every Thursday and about 8:30 Central Time. Always have a good time. We got some Bigfoot encounters coming up. A special surprise guest that has had, I'm assuming, several encounters because Daniel won't tell me who it is. But I'm excited to have them on. We got a couple of really good encounters they're going to be reading from. A lot of these are primarily from Kentucky. So excited to get into some of that. and just hang out with you guys. If this is your first time here, please let us know in the comment. Let us know where you're watching from, and if this is your first time. So,
yeah. Harley goes, Daniel won't even tell me even if he's guessing. Listen, I'm not confirming or denying anything anybody asks me. You can throw names out there. I'm not going to tell you nothing. I'm not going to let on. I'm not doing nothing. So,
well, if you want to find out, you just have to hang out, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look, I've seen Vic asked. I've seen now Daryl. So
curious to see, man. I have no clue, guys. I have no clue, but I know it'll be good. Daniel always puts a lot of thought into this stuff, so I know it's going to be really good. So just excited for it. And thanks for hanging out with us. This is your first time. Please let us know. Nicole, first time been able to listen to the live. New subscriber from Twin Cities in Minnesota. Awesome. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you found the channel. So
hey, Nicole, whereabouts? Because I am in the White Bear area.
White, is that what you call where you're at? The White Bear area?
Well, White Bear Lake.
White Bear Lake.
Dude, we kind of have some kind of like some racist stuff. We have like White Bear Lake. We have Coon Rapids.
Wow.
Like legit. I remember the first time my wife goes, yeah, I have to go to Coon Rapids. I'm like, what?
That's funny. That's funny. Well, let's see. Louisville Charlie, first time from Louisville, Kentucky. 12 degrees. Wow. Okay. Nice. Thomas says that the guest is probably Jack Link's Sasquatch. That's actually really funny. I love that. I love that. Hey, real quick while we're jumping in before we get into another story, I want to tell everybody, listen, you keep asking about these hats, right? Everybody wants to know about these hats. My wife loves to help get involved and do these giveaways. So she came up with this idea. So we're going to talked about it a couple times, a couple shows back. But so if you want to win this hat right here, it's brand new. All you got to do is become a member of this channel, $2.99 or above. And if you already are a member, you will be automatically entered into the drawing. We're going to run this for probably another 2 weeks or so. So make sure that if you join tonight, that you send me an email and you let me know, and we'll get you guys entered into the drawing. But all right, man. Listen, I've got an encounter I'm going to read here while we're waiting. So this one is from Kentucky.
Yeah, we got another first timer as well. We got
awesome
Sasquatch Medic.
Very cool.
That's why I talked to like midnight last night. Super cool.
That's guy. Awesome. All right. So this one says, I was in the Robertson forest with a buddy of mine doing research for a wildlife study. I had set up camp miles from the nearest road. And by nightfall, the woods were so dark, it felt like there were at least two people. We were the last two people on Earth. The thick canopy blocked out any moonlight, leaving our only source of illumination, the dying embers of our fire and our dim flashlights. Around midnight, I woke up to this deep, heavy breathing right outside our tent. At first, I thought it was a bear, but then the footsteps started. Slow, deliberate, and too heavy to be a bear that I'd heard. They circled us, crunching the leaves like whatever it was wanted us to know it was there. The breathing got closer, and I swear I could hear this a low clicking noise, like the thing was trying to talk or call for something. My buddy grabbed his flashlight and whispered, "Dude, what is that?" My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it was going to explode out of my chest. I unzipped the tent just enough to peek out, and that's when I saw it. It was massive. Standing just beyond the glow of the dying fire, at least 8 foot tall, covered in dark matted hair, its eyes reflected the light, red, burning, hateful. It had a broad chest, long arms that reached almost to the ground, and a face that was somewhere between human and ape, but all wrong. Then without warning, it screamed. I'd never heard anything like it. It wasn't a howl or a growl or even a scream. It was all of them all at once. My chest vibrated from the force of it, my ears ringing. My buddy scrambled backwards, knocking over the lantern. We bolted out of the tent and ran, the thing crashing through the woods behind us. The ground shook with its footsteps. I don't even remember unlocking the truck. I just slammed the door, peeling out. We drove until we reached the highway, drenched in sweat, hands trembling. Neither of us said a word the whole way home and never went back. I just wanted to share this story with you and tell you how much this impacted my life. Hope this helps somebody. Nope. No, thank you. Let's see.
Nope.
Richard says both of you guys asked the right questions. Hey, speaking of questions, how many times have you heard of that clicking sound in encounters? Because that's been coming up a lot. I've heard that several times over the last couple of months, man.
You mean the
if
click,
you guys,
like,
yeah. If you guys have heard of that, and drop in the comments what you think that's about, why you think they do that. So I don't understand that. That's really strange to me why they do that. Let's see.
well, I know that clicking noise, but it's a little bit different. Well, actually, it's a lot different when you hear it come from the vicinity of the rake.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's pretty strange stuff, man. Yep. Christopher said the same thing. I heard the rake and Wendigo also do the clicking sound. That's weird. I don't know why these things do that, but maybe some kind of echolocation. You know, I could see that. I mean, maybe something like that. I don't know. It's definitely a form of communication. You know, they're definitely communicating back and forth. And so that's pretty interesting to me. So last time I played this video, we played some video of a eagle's nest, some evidence, pretty good evidence of Bigfoot. Daniel sent this to me about a month ago, I want to say now. Maybe it hasn't been quite a month, but this right here, this footage here is really weird to me. I want you guys to pay attention to the eyes, and you'll know what I'm talking about, man. You sent it. Do you remember? You sent it to me about a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Check out the eyes of this creature, guys. It's so weird. You imagine waking up and seeing this looking at you. Check this out. Nope. Can you imagine trying to go back to sleep after that?
Nope. I'd have been smashing it.
I can't tell you how many times as a kid I've had that feeling that, you know, somebody's watching me through the window, but I can't help but think about Will. And I know you can't, as you turn and look at your window. Will, he was on my show and on your show. He had a Dogman encounter, guys, and this is crazy. He was from North Carolina, and he was just a kid. And he said he looked out the window. He heard this voice in his head told him to look outside. So he looks outside, and he sees this creature standing about, I don't remember, 10, 15 feet away. And every time he would look away and look back, the thing was closer and closer. We had a tree right next to his house. You remember this one. Mm-hmm. And he said this thing climbed up in the tree and told him to come outside and was motioning at him like this. And it was a Dogman. And its eyes, he said its eyes were like what you'd see with the Twilight Zone. And I don't know, man, it's just wild to me. But Greaseback says that's why I keep my blinds down at night. That's true. I don't want to have to shoot out my windows or walls. That's a good point, man. That's a good point. A lot of times, man, these things will come for whatever reason, man. They'll stand there outside people's windows, breathe at them, you know, look at them. It's weird. I don't know, man. I think these things, especially back long time ago, man, you know, when people would be out camping and stuff, they would come up next to the tents and drag people off and stuff like that. I know in Native American culture, man, they call them, you know, a lot of them call them cannibals because they would just come and, you know, cannibalize their kids and women and stuff. They come and take them and, you know, called them the other tribe. It's really weird to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
You
had something like that happen.
What?
Where something was looking at the window. I mean, you saw prints
Man.
you had something like that happen.
Well, yeah, that's like after we left and we came back the following spring. We'd been gone all winter long after my dad got in that car accident. And when we went back to the property to get just a few other things before, you know, you could see where something looked like it was trying to look inside the windows, but the drapes were drawn and stuff. So, yeah. So,
man, that's so crazy.
I got one here that is that is actually from the Cascade Mountain area up in Washington
Okay.
State.
Let's hear it, man.
My buddy Ben and I had been hiking deep in the Cascades when we stumbled upon a cool little clearing. As we looked out over the clearing, we could see that there were a bunch of huckleberries, ripe huckleberries, in and around this area. As we were looking through the area, we then noticed something. Not 20 feet away, a massive, shaggy figure stood hunched over a thick patch of bushes, long fingers delicately plucking berries and placing them in its mouth. The creature's eyes were dark, and as if though it sensed us or smelled us, it looked up, our eyes meeting each other's. For a moment, the forest held its breath. Then, with a grunt, this huge Sasquatch, yes, I'm calling it a Sasquatch, turned and ran off into the trees, leaving only swaying branches as it made its way through.
So weird how this stuff happens like that.
They're out just hiking.
That's so weird, man. That's so weird. It's funny to me how many people just like randomly stumble upon, across these things. Like as vague as they are, it's weird to me how they'll just pop up in front of people. Like the majority of stuff gets sent to you is like that. It's like it's weird, It's so weird to me. But I got that audio clip uploaded, man. If you want to give us some backstory on it.
Okay, so this was provided by my guest last night. He was out in an area that he likes to call the Area 51.
Okay.
In Oklahoma.
Okay.
And actually, no, I'm sorry. He calls it the Xanadu area. They call it the Xanadu area. That's what I believe it is, the Xanadu area.
Wow.
And he's out there, and it's his dad's with him, I believe, and they're sitting around a fire. And this is what happens.
Okay. I got it loaded up here. I say I do. All right, here we go.
I heard. Ooh. That's a different sound.
That's so weird, man. That's good.
Man. How cool is that?
That's cool. That's very cool. I mean, it's cool sitting in here listening to it. I don't know how cool it'll be out there, but right now it's pretty cool. I'm good with it now. I don't know, man. Guys, what do you think? I'm curious to see what everybody thinks. This is something I think Daniel probably agree with me. But if you hear a Bigfoot, have an encounter, a sighting, Class A, Class B, if you hear one, I almost guarantee you without fault, there's at least one or two more really close. What do you think?
No, what he says is that when that happened, there were more than the first one you heard.
Mm-hmm.
Sound like it was coming from in front of them and off to the side. The last one came from right behind them.
So they were surrounded.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing, like, and you, man, guns better than anybody I know, like better than me, better than anybody I know. You go off and let's say you're in that situation and you do get a shot off. Let's say that this, let's just say for the sake of this argument, they're flesh and blood. I don't think that, but let's say that they are. You take one down, man, you better be ready, because I guarantee you that it's not going to be good for you. I honestly think that's probably one of the worst things you can do in that kind of situation, because you don't know how many's out there. So,
well, here, I'm going to tell you right now, when people walk around out in the woods, and I'm guilty of it, they do not normally carry something big enough that's going to stop something that big.
Right.
I always carry a 9 mic or a 357. you're gonna need something a lot bigger. A lot bigger.
Yeah.
So,
And I personally think that, I don't know that you're going to do much good, no matter what you carry, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think for me, it's just the best thing you can do is what Martin Groves does. And that's pray, invoke the name of Jesus and pray, man. Start quoting scriptures, things like that. That's the best thing you can do. But let's see here. William said that he had his sighting and it was a lone creature and our lone traveler. Yeah, that was a good encounter, man. He's been on my show. That was really good. And I think sometimes they're migrating through, but I just think that a lot of times, man, they're in packs, they're in units, and they're traveling through, man. I don't know. The first encounter I ever had on my show, guy's name was Adam from Arizona. I think Arizona or New Mexico. And he said he was just a kid and his grandma had a feeling like something was wrong. And so they had to drive quite a way to get to their sheep. They had a bunch of sheep and cattle, I think maybe. And they were on the way. And he said it was a really dark night and there was a moon out and that was all you could, only light out there. So they went around this corner and they saw this Bigfoot creature on all fours standing in the middle of the road. And if that wasn't odd enough, he said this thing turned around and whistled up the hill. And there was 2 or 3 other one, up there on the hill. And it was almost like he was just kind of a lookout or something. They didn't see anything else after that, but it's really, really strange. William carries a 30-06 alone in the woods. Let's see, 300 Win mag, 7mm mag with a soft point. I mean, it's better to carry something than nothing, but I don't think that guns are going to do a whole lot of good with this stuff, man. That's just my opinion.
I normally carry a Swiss Army knife, kind of the toothpick and the scissors. Hey, it's a tool of all trades, man.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. 7mm mag and a 10mm. But I really think that these things, like the encounter that your dad had, man, with that, werewolf, dogman creature, whatever you want to call it, man. I don't think you're going to do much good. You hear all the time about those things getting shot and it does no good, So, I don't know, man. Pretty scary stuff, guys. If you're just jumping on here, glad to see you. Let us know this is your first time here on these live shows. You never know what you're going to get, but we're always going to talk about Bigfoot, Dogman, cryptids. Every once in a while, I got a special guest on. We have a surprise guest coming on tonight, so you want to hang on for that. And also, if you would love to send me an encounter or any evidence, please send it to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. I do my best to get back to everybody who sends me an email. I know that Daniel, if you guys don't know, Daniel has his own show now. Why don't you throw your email out there, man?
Sure. The email is thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. It can be found on YouTube. And I'm going to put dump a lot of audio into Spotify. Probably this weekend. I got like 4 or 5 shows I haven't put in there yet. But I release content every Monday, Wednesday, and now Friday.
Good stuff, man. So Harley says his let me get it pulled up here. My second encounter, I was surrounded by 3. I had one in front of me. Then I saw a reddish brown hair, gray skin, black eyes. To the left of me, loud smack of a branch breaking. The one on the left side of me was stomping. Harley, you are a brave man. Some of the evidence he sent us is just wild. Let me see if I can get one of these pulled up here that he sent us. He sent us some amazing footage. This one is from his first encounter.
Yeah, that one's crazy.
Thing was peeking around the tree at him, man. That's so wild to me. You can see it here, like it's just literally peeking up around the corner at him. And then he's got this one right here, captured a Dogman. So wild. I show that almost every show because I'm so just blown away by that, man. Amazing evidence. He does a great job for this community. So if you guys haven't checked out his channel, make sure to go check him out, man. He's a solid guy. Really, really good guy.
Hey, when he gets warmer. So, I told you that, Jeremiah Byron from Bigfoot Society had a guest on that mentioned they had a sighting in Rice Creek area, which is like literally 10 minutes from my house. Well, I know this whole area, so when it starts getting a little warmer, I'm going to park my truck, and then I'm going to walk this whole area.
Awesome. Well, you better be careful, man.
Hey, can you email me the link to join?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I think I have it, though. Let me see here.
You have it, but I'll send it again. I'll send it real quick. Guys, I just want to tell you, and I don't say it enough on here, but I really appreciate everybody who has been a part of this channel, who's come on the show, who listens, who watches, who tells people about it. I am so thankful for all the support. Thankful for Daniel for just being here on these lives and just, just all of it. I'm grateful. And this has been really good for me. And it's a good place to get to know people. But I also got to give a big shout out to my wife. None of this would be possible without her. She's very patient and doesn't mind me doing this. And I'm really, really thankful to have her. And she's always, you'll never see her on camera, but she's always right there behind me, backing me up. Even though she might not believe in Bigfoot, she's always there. So very thankful for her. But let's see here. I appreciate that. We try our best. Let's see here. Wants to really share evidence. There isn't anything that they're being. Listen, yeah, you do good with that, man. You definitely put everybody out there and you get that evidence out there for people. So that is great, guys. While we're waiting for this guest to come on, I'm going to play another audio clip here, or another clip. This one, guys, this one gets me every single time I've seen it, because I've seen something like this. I saw a white one on my third encounter, and every time I see this, it gives me chills. But this is from Pennsylvania. If you've not seen this video yet, you're in for a treat, because it's wild. It's really wild. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Yeah, that's a white or albino Bigfoot. I think there was I don't know the whole backstory behind that, but somewhere in Pennsylvania, they captured that. Just the way that thing moves to me is just, it's mind blowing. Yeah, Greasebag, you're right. No human's going to move like that. It moved way too fast. So really crazy stuff, man. We've been able to see some really good evidence. Had some crazy stuff happen or sent to us on this channel, and I'm grateful for all of that evidence. But here's another one I'll show real quick, man. This one's pretty good too. What do you think about that one, Daniel?
Here's the thing. People can say what they want to say about. I love that video, because what was going on? This is a 4th of July, I believe, event, and what happened is that these people, unbeknownst to them, they were letting off fireworks, and there was a mother and her baby in that vicinity, and it scared her, and so she she did what any mom would do and took off, grabbed her baby. And it's funny because you saw the baby push off of the mom, at one moment. So
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
I do have a text message from our surprise guest. I sent them the wrong link. Boy, I'm such a rookie. And so that's why, so hopefully they'll be able to get on.
Sweet. Well, I'm looking forward to it, guys. I just, if you've had an encounter, if you've had anything that you would like to send, me, please send it to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. If you don't want to come on the show, but you've got some evidence you would like for us to share on the show, please send that to me. If you've got a video, if you've got an audio clip, anything at all that you ever want to send, please send that over and we'll put it on the show and give you credit if you send me in the email and tell me you want to put it on there. But love to interview you if you've had an encounter you're sitting on. On my channel, we talk about primarily Bigfoot, Dogman. I'm playing around with the idea of every once in a while doing some kind of other mystery in addition to the other stuff. We'll see if that happens. But, hopefully you guys are liking what I'm putting out. And I'm excited to hang out with everybody on these lives. If you guys are liking these lives, let us know. Put one down if you're enjoying these lives. We've been doing them every Thursday, for 3 weeks now?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the third week. So,
absolutely.
Really excited about that. But thanks, Harley. I appreciate it.
Steamboat I'm looking for right now.
Let's see. Red Dirt Cryptids. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks, Steamboat. You guys are awesome. I got some other audio clips, man, that this is from see if I can find this one here. This one is from Ohio. So,
hey, Josh, if you get a chance, if you can load that that video that I sent to you that Steamboat sent me, the most recent one.
Okay.
I think I sent it to you in Messenger.
Can you email it to me?
I'll see if I can.
Okay.
I think it's too big.
I got you. I'll try. I'll do my best. I'll try.
Okay.
Check this out, guys. This is from 1994. This is us in Ohio.
Okay, you guys, I just want to go ahead and bring on our guest. Everybody, please welcome Mr. Doug Hajicek.
Hey, guys.
What is up, Doug?
Hey, Josh.
How are you, man?
Good. I just wolfed down a bunch of Mexican food, chased after with a Diet Pepsi, so you may not want me on.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Well, listen, man, I am shocked. That is super cool that you came on the show. Man, you've done so much for this community. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to jump on, man.
I've actually watched your show, Josh.
Well, hopefully you liked it.
Yeah, I love your demeanor. Just super nice. You have a great calming effect, I think, on your listeners.
Well, I appreciate that.
As does Daniel.
He's good
Daniel's
too.
Pretty smooth too.
Yeah. I think a lot of mine come from my law enforcement background, man, learning how to just, calm people down and that kind of stuff. So it's helped me a lot in life. But I'm a pretty chill guy, man. You give me a cup of coffee, I'm good. So
what's with all the ex-policemen that become podcasters?
I don't know what that's about, man. I really don't know. I have no idea, but I guess it's just we're born talkers. I guess I don't know. We get bored easy, and so that, or we just kind of have weird stuff happen to us, and so it's a good platform to talk about it. So
yeah, one of the first Bigfoot related books I read was called Hidden Police Files, many years ago. And there was an article about Brian Goslin in Whitehall of his encounter with a Bigfoot as a police officer. And that was just amazing. It was a cool book.
That is very cool. I got to ask, because I know you've heard so many encounters and you've experienced so much, but if you would, man, share with us one of the, the strangest encounters you've heard or experienced, man. I'd love to hear it.
Oh man, I guess strangest encounters that I've heard are too weird to even talk about. Probably the weirdest ones are ones that have, I think, happened to me, because I still don't hear any that top it, because it was like being in a bad horror movie, like a real horror movie. And that was the first time the cabin was attacked up at Snellgrove Lake in Ontario. I'd been going up there 35 years, and it was my getaway place. It was the place I went to relax. I would go up there sometimes 2-3 times a year to get my sanity back from working too much. And up there, you've got to look at your own watch to even know what century it is, right? It's just so desolate. And one time I thought, I brought my boys up. I should really, why ignore my daughter? I should bring my daughter up here. She might have an effect on her, a profound effect. So I got some other buds, and we all, three of us, brought our daughters up. And that started the whole Snellgrove madness with the cabin getting attacked. And I think it had something to do with the kids. Kids never have been up there. And it started when I was coming out of a creek. I was poling out of a creek, a real shallow creek, into the main lake, and heard a wood knock right by the boat, like feet, which is really cool. I mean, when you know there's something just standing on the other side of those logs, and you hear a wood knock, and I went, oh my God. And I never thought about Bigfoot up there. I don't know why. It's so vast. You just don't think you're ever going to run into anything. And it's so vast, you don't even see wildlife. Does that make sense? A wilderness so big and so empty that I never saw any. You don't see birds. You don't see anything. The most exciting thing I'd see would be one seagull. One seagull. That's it.
Wow.
And so it never occurred to me about Bigfoot, but we heard the wood knock, and I thought, let's try some wood knocks tonight. So all the guys were like, yeah, okay, cool, let's try it. Well, it's never been done up here. So we're around the fire, like 2 a.m, and I said, okay, Vlad, give it a crack. We had the log picked out, and he gives it a good crack. The answer came within probably 15 feet of us, loud, right next to us. And I'm like, oh crap, I just suddenly regretted that. And so then I told Maria, Joe's daughter, I said, take a little rock and throw it right in that stand of trees where we heard the wood knock come from. And I said, just do it underhand, not aggressive. And so she threw it underhand, and right away a rock comes out underhand, just gentle, landed at our feet. And that exchange lasted like 20 minutes. And the guys I was with were total skeptics. They were just white. I mean, I've never seen grown men so scared and shocked that this was going on. The wood knock, and then all the rock throwing. Yeah. Then I made the mistake, and I said, Maria, why don't you just try whistling? That may have been a mistake. And everything quit. There was nothing. So it got late. There was, no more wood, nothing, no sound, no rocks. It ended in a grand finale where a big rock got thrown and ricocheted. And we went in the cabin. Everybody went to bed. I stayed up, and I was reading a magazine by a candle, little tea candle, until I just had so much adrenaline in me. I was just like really stoked about what had just went down. And I got tired. I walked up to the window, going to brush my teeth before I hit the hay. It's probably like 4 a.m. now. And I turn a little light on above me. It's a fluorescent light, battery powered fluorescent light above my head. It lit me up like just whoosh. My white hair, everything just glowed, I'm sure. And whatever was standing outside the window watching me screamed. I mean, we're just, this is all happening feet from me. And then the others, whatever else was out there, screamed. And then another one screamed. And then I heard bunch of stuff hitting the cabin, and then I heard running on the roof. And you imagine you're up there in the middle of nowhere. You're the only one up. You're hearing running on the roof. I look up, Josh, and the skylight's open, meaning it's just wide open, this big skylight. I'm hearing some creature running on the roof. And so immediately my first thing to do was to get that skylight closed. So I'm like, who opened it? I don't even know how you even close it. Oh, and I saw a long steel pole. So I hooked it up there nervously, got it closed quick. Meanwhile, the screaming, the rock throwing, the stick throwing, the running on it got worse, and the screams got louder. It was as if they were fighting amongst themselves. Does that make sense?
Does.
Like they were mad at each other for some reason, and they were all arguing. And I look, I feel the cabin start shaking. I look down, and when the floorboards started to flex, and the cabin started getting lifted off its foundation on blocks, that's when my heart really went like, oh crap. And so that's when I ran into Vlad's room and started pounding on him as hard as I could. He wouldn't wake up. And I ran into Joe's bedroom, pounding. He wouldn't wake up. And then everything, about the time Joe finally just lifted his eye, opened his eyes, everything just quit as quick as it started. That's the weirdest story I've ever heard, because it continues on for many years, right up until last August, right? It's continuing. And so to me, it's the weirdest thing. And if you guys want to ever go up there, let me know. It's
that
insane.
Is wild.
We had, last time we were up there, I hadn't been there in 8 years, and we got there, and the first night the cabin got attacked. Night one.
Man.
Well, I'm local, so I'm down.
Well, it's a long journey. It's 12-hour drive, and then you take a long 2-3 hour float plane ride, and then you get dropped off, right? So it's a long 2-day journey to get there. And what was really weird is last August we went there. Okay, so the first 2 years or a year ago we went there. Cabin got attacked almost every day. So then we went up there last August. The same time of year the cabin goes attacked. We believe because the blueberries are ripe in the area. So we go up there and we go down to pay our bill to the outfitter. You got to settle up, right? In case you don't come back, they want their money. They want their money ahead of time. So okay, we went down to settle up our bill, and she goes, well, where are you guys going? We're like, we're going to go up to Snell for 6 days. She's like, oh my God. She goes, I'm like, what? She goes, oh, that cabin got destroyed here like 2 weeks ago. And we're like, what?
Wow.
And Adam was smart enough to go, do you have video? Do you have pictures? And so she shows us this video. I should have actually, it would have been a lot cooler if I could have sent it to you. But the video showed so much damage. It was incredible. But once again, not a bear, no claw marks, even the shelves torn off the wall, cabinets torn off, the doors torn off, even the glass was broken out. So I went, oh God, now they've discovered how to break the glass. That's not good. And when we go up there, we're unarmed. And so that was fine. We're all like starting to calm down a little bit now. We got to get on the plane and leave to go there. And we go down there and the bush pilot goes, where am I taking you? And we go, Snell Grove. And he goes, oh my God, are you kidding? You're going out there. And we're like, yeah. And he goes, we heard the cabin got destroyed, but you guys fixed it, right? It's like put back together. And he said, yeah, we put new doors on it and we cleaned up the mess and put all the cupboards back on and did that. But he goes, the weirdest thing happened right after we got done with fixing the cabin. Something pushed a giant tree on top of the cabin. And he says, oh, look at this picture. I have the picture on my phone. This big tree gets pushed down. So now we're like really freaked out. Like whatever it is does not want anybody there. So, and once again, it's the longest Bigfoot story ever. And it starts in like 2005 and ends last August.
Wow. That's wild, man. Like,
and in between, I can tell you lots of stories. Yeah, it would take 4 podcasts to tell you all the
to do it.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing with once you get sucked into this world, whether it's just hearing a story, you've had an encounter, it's an endless rabbit hole of questions. Because just from what you just shared with us, I've got so many questions, and
sure,
I think that's why, for me, after I had my encounter, it changed how I looked at the woods, how I looked at the world, things like that, because it does change your perspective, man. Once these things are there and they're real, but man, why do you think they attacked your cabin like that so much, man? What do you think that was?
I don't know. I mean, I used to go up there, like I said, all the time. But it was the wood knock that we did back. And it was almost like was the kids. I think it was a family group. By all the screaming I was hearing, I'm almost positive that a young one had leaped on the roof. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was hearing running, was a younger one. And I think it was the parents were screaming at it. I'm
Get down there. You'll break your neck. Get out of there.
Well, it's just, could you imagine me flicking that light from pitch black cabin, flicking the light, and I light up, and they're out there right by the window, probably spying on me. I scared the living crap out of them.
Yeah,
so it was a mutual fear.
Definitely a mutual fear. I don't know. I think I'd have been more scared, man, seeing something like that out there. And then it's a good thing did you finally get the skylight thing closed?
Yes. Oh yeah. I got it closed. That was my first priority.
That's a smart move.
I pictured something dropping from the skylight into the cabin with me. And that's where, of course, I would be dead at that point from a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd be in trouble if that thing got in there. You would definitely be in trouble.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild, man.
But the Snellgrove Mysteries. So after that cabin got attacked, all these things started unfolding. I told the outfitter about it when he came to pick us up, and he goes, "Oh, I believe that. I believe that far more than it would be a person that would come in or do all that stuff to you guys last night." And he goes, "Oh, did you hear the cabin got destroyed?" And I'm like, "What?" I said, "Everything's perfect in the cabin. Chuck, I've been coming up here 30 years. I know every knot and every knot hole in this cabin. With 30 years, you get to know a place, right?" And I said, "Chuck, there's not one scratch in here." And he goes, "Oh, the cabin got destroyed bad." He said they even flipped over a 1,200-pound gas tank out there. And he goes, "I have video. I'll send it to you." Because he had to claim insurance because it was pipes were even bent, everything. But no windows were broken. That was interesting. No windows got broken. And there was only one thing left in the cabin untouched. It was a poster of animals that are found in Ontario hanging by one staple. Every piece of paper in that cabin got torn into little pieces of confetti. 50 decks of cards were torn into little pieces. Because every time we go up there, we always bring a new deck of cards, right? Well, eventually there was 50 decks sitting up there. It was just kind of a thing to see that stacks of these decks of cards. And that's where I kind of got the idea. I thought, God, these things are kind of autistic. To come in there and spend many hours tearing up those playing cards
makes
into
no
little
sense.
Pieces of confetti makes no sense.
They had too much time on their hand.
But I do remember when I'm a confirmed Lutheran, and when for part of my confirmation we had to go to a mental institution, and we're just kids, right? And they're taking us through this mental institution. I don't know why. It scared the bejesus out of us, but there was a guy who was just sitting there tearing up paper. He was obviously, he's completely, very mentally ill. And he was just tearing up stacks of paper in little pieces. That image came back into my mind when I saw that video of all these playing cards that had been torn into little tiny pieces. Do you think was that something you'd do, Josh? You were going to vandalize a place as a teenager? You wouldn't do that.
No, never. No. I wouldn't spend the time to do that. I'd be doing it and getting out of there.
You couldn't do it. It's just such a fascinating story, the whole thing. And everybody says, "Well, Doug, they're gunning for you," and I'm like, I don't think so, because I had gone up there 30 years and never had one incident. Not one. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There was one that happened to two guys I brought up that claimed that a big log had been flown out of the forest and landed by their boat when they were fishing behind the cabin in a kind of a little bay area. And I just kind of blew that off, you know. But other than that, there was another time we were up there, didn't associate it with Bigfoot. I was up there with my son, Josh, and Joe, just the three of us. And there was singing, beautiful singing one night coming from the shore that sounded very operatic, but in gibberish. And that went on for like 30 minutes. And we all just like marveled over it, you know. And that was back in the 90s. We didn't have cell phones or, you know, any of that kind of stuff to record it, but it was cool. Now recently I've heard other people report Bigfoot singing.
It's, you know, I used to didn't know what to do with that, but I've heard so many encounters like where they do these kind of things that, you know, I believe all that now. Like, I mean, just the way they can vocalize and mimic, it blows my mind how they can mimic sounds, mimic people. It's just weird to me, man. But that is such a strange story. And how big of an impact did that have on you, man? It's hard to unpack that, but
life-changing. It had a life-changing. Okay, so then you come home, right? And you mention these things. It changed my oldest son's life so much. What do you think he went into? Audio. He not only went into audio, he went into bio audio, where he does all of this research and development on artificial intelligence and bio, like implanting stuff in ears. That changed his life. He got back from that trip and he went from a teenager like to kind of hang out in the mall and dress in black clothes and t-shirts and whatever, never helping around the house, to like the most astute person I'd ever met. Like, he, you know, go, do you want I help you set the table? It just changed him, that trip, so much. And then he went off to college. He goes, oh, I just enrolled in college out east. And I want to get my PhD and blah, 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 blah. He said, don't worry, I already got a job in the kitchen. I'm going to pay my own tuition by working at the college. and so this kid went from just a normal, you know, teenager, never helps, to this amazing kid. And to this day, he's got his PhD and he's very successful. But in audio. Wow. And I had the fun finally of sending him 8,500 Bigfoot recordings and said, son, I think you need to listen to these. And he actually had some ideas on what he could do with this stuff.
That's super cool. You know, one of the things that I try to do on my show that's different than some shows is I try to focus on the people and I guess the psychology behind it, how it affects you. Because one of the first questions I ask people is like, how did that impact your life? Because it is life changing. That's the only words I know to describe it. It's life changing. And I remember the first time I shared my encounter with a family member and the way that they looked at me, I was like, this is how many people are like me that are sitting on these stuff that just, they're afraid to talk about it. And, you know, but the encounter like yours, man, what do you do with that? I mean, how do you keep your sanity? What have you done to try to like decompress from that, man? What do you do?
Ooh, it can be hard. You know, you come home for some of these expeditions where you have a lot of crazy stuff, and it is hard to adjust. I remember, I don't know if you know who Will Steger is. He's an Arctic explorer, and he walked across Antarctica, and I had the pleasure of, you know, meeting him, doing one of his only television interviews, whatever. And then I asked him about, what is it like to come home? You walked across Antarctica. You went to the North Pole unassisted. How do you come home and just adjust to normal everyday life, right? He says, it's hard. I stare out the window and cannot wait to get on the road again. You know, and it's kind of like that. You get back and you just want to go again. But then, you know, you got kids and I got people I love here and I got to deal with that. But bills to pay. But in another life, I probably would just do that kind of stuff full time and never quit.
Yeah.
Like, never quit.
Yeah. No, I can understand that, man. I totally can understand that. It's, you know, you got to figure out the way to cope with it the best. But you know, you get sucked into that world. It's so easy to just keep going because it's, you know, I mean, it's an endless list of questions for me, and I'm a very curious person. And so, you know, I know my encounters were really simple, nothing like yours, but I remember the impact it had on me, and just, I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it. But this helps, you know, this meeting other people that have had these encounters, and you know, it really does help.
Is it possible this is therapy for us?
I think
so. Yeah.
Don't you agree?
I do.
This is kind of like therapy. You know, we pursue this to get answers, but it helps us cope with what we've seen and been through.
Yeah, it does. It helps. And, you know, I get emails all the time that people are like, hey, thanks for letting me come on your show. It really helped me to compress this or decompress this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a wild world, man. I know that it's changed my perspective of the woods. I can tell you that 100%.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of the whole world, because, you know, once you realize the world isn't the way you were taught, that there's things we don't know about that are real, not fake. Monsters are real, not, you know, we always say, there's no such thing as monsters and this and that. And then you realize all that stuff's true. You know, you get shook up, but it's also, I think it makes us smarter, because you suddenly get a very open mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. You know, I really do. I don't know of anybody that probably has more experience with this stuff than you, man. And so for you to come on the show, and I'm just very honored that you did. But what do you think, man? And there's no, I mean, I would love to know what you think, but what do you think these things are, like Bigfoot? What do you think they are?
Man, first off, they could very well just be regular, everyday flesh and blood creatures that are, you know, low in population, very specialized, and have super abilities. Like an electric eel has a super ability. It can make voltage. There's things it can do. And I believe it possesses super strength, high intelligence, but very focused intelligent. I think they use part of their brains we don't use anymore. I think we're just starting to barely understand the human potential, because, you know, we've been living in our warm, heated houses, and we don't, you know, we have farms. We don't have to really struggle anymore. But I do think these things have a lot of super abilities. I don't mean phenomena, because, you know, what's phenomena one day? If you could grab your phone, Josh, and put you back 100 years, they'd think it was all magic, right? You were a witch and you did this, and it's just nothing weird about it. But I think they have some really unique properties, and that's what I've been studying the most. And have you guys ever heard of the word, I had mentioned it to Daniel earlier, are these thing called porins?
Okay. I've never heard of it.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing soon, because it kind of hit me and it made sense. The Bigfoot hair might possess this porphyrin compound, and that compound is the same compound that flying squirrels, for instance, have in their fur. It's a glowing, a natural, you know, biological chemical compound like stomach acid or skin sebum, or, you know, it's something that makes flying squirrels glow. Did you know flying squirrels glow in pink?
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
I did know that.
Maybe one of you can just look up and throw up a photo of a flying squirrel under UV light. This might be really interesting, because this is new info, by the way. So you're getting a bit of a scoop here. And I do hope people share this info I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, so I'm going to be testing Bigfoot hair for porphyrins. Here's how I came to this conclusion they might have them. And I have to kind of reverse engineer. So many years ago, I was testing IR light for Animal Planet before they had ever used IR cameras ever on their network. I was the first one to do it. And I wanted to do it in a bear documentary called The Man That Walks with Bears. And my goal in that show, it was a show based on doing bear research based on trust. No drugging. We put a radio collar. We just did it with a little tin of sweetened condensed milk versus injecting them with ketamine from a dart, right? And the idea was bears are one of the few animals that actually can be tamed when they're an adult. When I say tamed, I mean they can develop, they're smart enough to develop trust with a human or whatever, even as an adult. You don't need to tame them when they're young. Okay. So the whole thing was based on trust. But during the filming, I'm up alone with Joe. Me and Joe are up north, and I'm supposed to get footage of bears at night with IR, which I did. Done. And now I want to get more. I'm getting greedy. I just got to hit a big chocolate bear I just gotten another smaller black bear. And I filmed a flying squirrel. And then another squirrel landed on me, and another one, and another one, and another one. All these flying squirrels were just covering me. I was literally covered with flying squirrels. Yep, there you go. And there's one on the left has got a UV light shined on it. Okay, that glow is caused by a chemical compound called a porphyrin. Okay, and I believe it's made. They're figuring out it's made in the bones. All right,
weird.
So I got all these squirrels on me, and I figured out it wasn't the light that was doing it, because I turned the IR light off on the camera and they were still landing on me, but they landed on me when I was talking. Just talking to my buddy, then they would all land on me. And I would shut up, they would all take off. So I just thought, well, that's interesting. Okay. Put that in the back of my head. I got great flying squirrel footage too that night. Animal Planet flies in to look at the footage and talk about IR using it on their network. It had never been used on network TV ever. And so, yeah, they're impressed. We got the go ahead to do it. Flash forward many, 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 many years, 24 years. And I read, they discovered flying squirrels glow. Okay, that's interesting. But for about the last 5, I've been thinking that Bigfoots can see in UV wavelength. It would give them a lot of super abilities. It would allow them to even see game trail cameras, because plastics glow. There's phosphorescent inks and dyes that they use in the plastic. Okay. And have you ever used a UV light before, Daniel or Josh?
Yeah, I've used it before.
You take it in your bathroom, you think you just cleaned it, and there's like urine splattered on the walls, and, whatever. You think it's clean, but it ain't. Okay. But people buy them now. They're popular because you can find pet urine really easy with it. It just glows really bright. Okay.
Or your hotel room.
But when they discovered caribou could see in the UV wavelength back about 2012, I believe, I went, I'll bet you Bigfoots can see in that same wavelength. They evolved under the same conditions, crossed the land bridge the same way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, okay, if caribou can see in UV, Bigfoots can see in UV. It was just an assumption. But now I got to prove it. How am I going to ever prove that? We can't even prove the damn things are real. Okay. So I'm thinking about what would be the advantages of that. Well, one, if a Bigfoot could see urine, think about rats or mice that they would hunt. They're eating toads, lizards, snakes, everything pees a lot. Frogs, amphibians, pees a lot. So that would be good. It would also help them find other game, deer urine. That would help them see lots of things. You can see which berries are the ripest, which ones have the most protein if you have UV vision. Like for caribou, they eat a little of this lichen, a little of that lichen. Well, the caribou see lichen as like blood red if it's got a lot of protein in it. So they eat that. So we watch these animals graze and we think, why are they just eating a little here and then a little here and moving on a little here? It's because they can see the protein content. We can't. To us, it just looks like green grass or green lichen, right? Okay. So it gives them that ability. And I've watched bears do that. I've watched bears eat like catkins in the spring, and they'll just like eat this one, but they won't eat the one next to it. And they'll go over here and eat this one. Well, it's because they can see UV. So they know, okay, so we got that established. So it'd be a big help. Plus you could find each other. If you can see in UV vision and you have porins in your fur or your hair, you're going to be able to a Bigfoot might look pink at night. A little moon, you got UV light reflecting from the moon. And now you're going to see your buddy way over there, but he's a little pink glow. Squirrels have it. Owls have it in their wings, a little bit of pink glow in their wings. But if a squirrel can be pink and glow under UV light, that pretty much means that squirrel can see in UV light. Otherwise, there'd be no reason for them to be pink, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be really stupid if Daniel looked at, had some kind of different vision and he could see in UV and he could only look at himself. I mean, no, the idea would be to be able to find Josh in the woods. So
good point.
You can assume if something can see in UV, they also are using UV in their body parts. Okay. So then I'm thinking, I've always wondered, what do Bigfoots do with all the wood ticks? Daniel, you're from this area. It is so bad in the summer.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like you're picking hundreds off you.
I hate ticks. I hate ticks above everything in the world.
I know, but okay, now picture covered in hair. How are you going to deal with all this disease and all of these ticks all in your hair? It's going to be a problem, right? Mm-hmm. What if you're a lone male? You don't have your siblings or your Bigfoot wife to groom you. What are you going to do? Nobody ever asks these questions. And so those are the questions I ask myself. Well, I'm thinking, I wonder if flying squirrels love ticks. Bob, it's their favorite food.
No.
See, you get these, you just go, I wonder what? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's their favorite food. Okay. So then I'm thinking, remembering back when all these squirrels were landing on me, thinking about what I was wearing and thinking this, and I'm thinking, I'm just wondering if they didn't think I was a Bigfoot. Because I was at like Bigfoot Central where I was at up in Ely Tower area.
I love Ely.
Yeah, there's so many sightings up there, and you talk about tight lips, man. I've gotten a lot of secret calls from a lot of highfalutin people that go, I just had a Bigfoot run in front of my car, but if you tell anybody that it was, I will literally hunt you down. Okay.
Because if anybody doesn't really understand, what we're talking about with Ely is really far north and kind of west, but it's literally right next to the boundary waters.
It's at the end of the road. End of the road. The road ends, and it's just jillions of miles of wilderness, literally millions of miles, all the way to the North Pole from Ely.
Yep.
Wow.
In the Ely area is protected by the boundary waters, which is, millions of acres of the planes can't even fly over. It's a true wilderness area. But so that's where I go. Like I would go every week up to Ely, like every week, because I had so much stuff I was doing up there. A lot of wildlife stuff. But then I'm also was shocked by my research with beavers, because the first thing I learned is that they live with muskrats and muskrats groom them. Like every time the beavers come into the lodge, there's muskrats waiting to groom them. Okay.
That's
and
wild.
I filmed it all for like a year with a hidden camera in a wild beaver lodge. Okay.
Blows my mind.
So I've seen a lot of first time symbiotic stuff. In my wolf research, I saw a lot of symbiotic behavior going on. I've seen symbiotic, I've witnessed it firsthand, symbiotic behavior with Bigfoots and wolves and Bigfoots and coyotes. I've witnessed it firsthand, and I can tell those stories are crazy. So I know that, Bigfoots probably work with, ravens, crows, coyotes. They have some kind of symbiotic thing. I don't know exactly what it is, but I have some pretty good hunches. So when I go back now and I'm thinking, okay, flying squirrels, if they're grooming Bigfoots to get their favorite food, that would work out like the tick birds or the remoras. These animals all depend on these symbiotic things. Well, guess what? And I did more squirrel research. Yeah, I wonder if flying squirrels live with gorillas. Oh yeah. So the same thing's
strange.
going on in Africa. Flying squirrel. People don't think about flying squirrels in Africa. They're like the most, they live in 4 continents. There's 43 species. They just discovered even a new species in Humboldt County, California. Right at the Patterson site. They discovered a new species of flying squirrel. And so this sounds corny, right? But what it led me to is thinking, if Bigfoots can see in UV, that means they're going to have porphyrins in their hair, which means I can test for them. Because finally we might have a way to test, to people that say, well, that's a human hair, because they're very similar. Yeah, there's tapered end. There's very little medulla, the core, the center pigmented core. And now there may be a way, and it's a little thinner in diameter too, a little less scaling on the outside. So they're wispier, which gives them denser. But now there could be porphyrins. So I think all of those things together, because the tapered end, that didn't wake up the scientists. The lack of medulla, that didn't wake up the scientists. They did just like, well, that's whatever. Some Asian people they have less of a pigmented core. That didn't do it. Well, now if I can bring it to them and go, okay, come on. Tapered end, thinner diameter, less medulla, and porphyrins. Now, if that doesn't turn their crank, I don't know what we're going to do. Hit them with an anvil. So
you might have to, man. That's interesting stuff, man. No, like you learn something, so many things with these things, and it's just a lot that most of us have never heard or just don't understand, because I don't know what you're supposed to do with this stuff. But that's some pretty wild stuff, man. A lot of that makes sense, but I had no idea that a flying squirrel, looked like that, glowed. I've seen one before, but I've never seen them where they glowed. But that, that makes sense, man. It really does.
Yeah. So buy a UV flashlight if you're in the audience. Get out in the woods. If you see a Bigfoot, aim a UV flashlight. But we did testing on hair. I have. Guess what? Guess what it does?
It glows.
Yeah,
glows.
exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Bigfoot hair glows.
That's so
pink.
cool. Pink.
So, so you can see the connections that, but all these life experiences have to happen before you can even have them.
Yeah.
The day the flying squirrels were landing all over me, it never happened to me again. But boy, if that experience wouldn't happen, I would have never made the connection.
That's so strange, man. But
Flying squirrels.
it all added up. That's wild.
Josh, you say something every single time we do a live. When you join this live every Thursday at 8:30, you never know what you're gonna get. Now, do you?
You don't. You never know.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is awesome, guys. Listen, like and share this, get the word out. A lot of good knowledge out here. Doug's taking the time of his busy schedule to come on and drop some knowledge on everybody. So make sure you're sharing that. And, we're all learning here. So that's really cool. There's a lot of different directions we could go. But one thing I keep wanting to ask you, man, because this is one of the things that's fairly new to the cryptid world that a lot of people haven't talked a ton about. Like they have, but it's getting more and more prevalent, and there's more and more sightings of these creatures. But man, what do you do with Dogman? What's your thoughts on that?
Don't know, because I haven't seen one. If I see one, I'll deal with it.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
I'm not sure I want to see one, but okay. So I used to be really skeptical, more skeptical than I am about Dogman and, some other things like these winged humanoids that people would see, like the Mothman and stuff. And I remember History Channel wanted me to do Mothman really bad. And I kept saying, what am I going to do scientifically with that? It's just anecdotal evidence as witnesses. There's nothing. So one day we're driving down 35W, me and Yvette, and all of a sudden something drops out of the sky. This beautiful, clear, totally clear night, drops straight down, and we see it dropping like straight, like a spider on a web, and stops, and then it heads right for my windshield. Right, you saw my blue Corvette?
Yep,
Daniel?
I did.
Okay, that's the car that got attacked by a freaking Mothman.
What?
And this thing drops down out of the sky and heads right for our windshield. And we're watching and we're seeing this thing get closer. Then when you see the wings like reached across both lanes of the freeway, and it kept coming closer, and as it got closer, she finally screamed and ducked. I thought it was coming through the windshield. I waited an extra, maybe a second, and then I ducked eventually. But I've never had chills from my waist down. It's always been usually you get chills in your arms and stuff. I got chilled down there, and I thought I called my agent on the next day, and I said, Dale, I'll do the Mothman show.
Well, seeing is believing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I dealt with it then. I came up with some science stuff we could do. But I don't know why that happened. Maybe we both hallucinated. I doubt it. But there's a lot of weird stuff out there.
There is.
Dogman, I think fits in that category. Maybe there is. Where it gets confusing is there could be like these other dimensional entities that live just on the other side of the veil. And maybe they cross over, maybe they don't. And is Bigfoot one of those? I don't know. I mean, would I be shocked if that knowledge came out? No, I wouldn't be shocked.
It's such a strange world. I chalk it up all the time, like there's just so much in God's universe we just don't understand. And I'm like you, I have zero desire to see Dogman. None. I'm more than happy to sit right here and hear these encounters. But I don't have any desire. I had a guy on the show that me and Daniel, we talked about this last Thursday, but when he was a kid, he shot this thing, right? He thought it was a fox. He didn't know what Dogman was. And he said he heard in his mind that this thing said, stop, don't shoot, basically.
Really?
So he shot this thing years later. I don't remember how many years later it was, but he said he was driving down the road in his VW van, I think. And he looked over and he heard the same voice, looked over to the left, and this creature is running along the road next to him and says, hey, I'm the creature you shot so many years ago. I'm coming for you. And as soon as I get permission, I'm taking you out first. For the next 14 years, I think it was 14 years, this thing followed this man around, and he moved. He was a veteran. I don't know how many times he moved, but this thing would just follow him everywhere he went.
Really?
And I tell you, Doug, the weird thing about that encounter is when he came on the show, as soon as I would hit record, you'd hear this really weird noise in the background. It would spin up like a whistle would, and it would go away, and it would come back.
Stop. It did what? Okay, when you went, ooh, is there like a vibration in this whoosh?
Kind of like a vibration. It was like something, and it wasn't on my end, and he said it wasn't on his end. It was the strange. It's only happened one time. I've done 154 interviews.
I'm going to have to play some recordings for you, but we've been doing research on this weird humming, like almost, we call it a purr, but it's almost like a hummingbird wings or some kind of insect wings. A lot of times if you hear it, it'll make your ear itch. It's kind of a low frequency that dips into the infrasound frequency and above. But we've been doing research on this just in the last year. Wow. And oh my God, the people that are sending us recordings, it's insane right now.
That is strange.
You said this whoosh and you went, and you made this kind of buzzing sound.
Yeah. And it was weird because it would get louder and then it would go away, and it would get louder and it would go away. Yeah,
exactly. Just like that.
Just like that.
That's the sound that I recorded that up at Snell, like hours of it.
That's so weird. It was strange. I still don't know what to do with it. And I almost didn't release the episode because it was so distracting to me. And I tried my best to get through the interview because his story was so good. And he just, one of those just believable guys. And I was like, I've got to get it out there. And, I was worried it wouldn't perform very well, but I'll have to send you a link to it so you can find it. Cause it's weird because like it would stop when I had to do it 2 or 3 times. I'd hit stop on the recording and it would just stop. Me and him were talking. It only happened when I hit record. The only time I'd do it. So it was funny because I joked with him about it. I was like, what is that? And he's like, the government. He just kind of laughed, but that was it. And I was like, who knows? I don't know. But it was probably one of the strangest episodes. Wouldn't you think, Daniel? Probably one of these.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, because now that you kind of describe the word, I know for a fact I've heard that numerous times when I was a kid. living in Washington State. Whenever me and my younger brother be walking out through the woods, doing stuff that we probably shouldn't be doing in the woods, goofing off, and I'd always hear this, and I always thought it was like a bird.
Yeah. So since we've brought it up, people are going, hey, that was weird. I just got sent a recording of a husband and wife filmed in like 2012 where they're hearing this kind of hum, and they're hearing it like from far away, but they're hearing it close up, and it's like stereo, and it's bugging them, and they're talking about it. But it was filmed in 2012. We found an article from 1934. I'm working with David Ellis on this, and this article states a woman was down at the stream washing her clothes, and she hears what it sounds like hummingbird wings, looks up, expects to see a hummingbird, and sees a Sasquatch with an infant. And so that was really cool to hear, oh, geez, it's not just us thinking this. This happened in 1934. And so every time you find things like that, it just kind of keeps strengthening your desire to look for more and more and more. And so this hum, we just, like I said, David likes to call it the purr. I hate that word. I like to call it the Bigfoot hum. He calls it the Bigfoot purr.
It's so strange. I don't know. That's weird. It's really weird to me that that's popping up more and more and been around for years, but it's kind of like the correlation with Bigfoot and orbs and stuff like that. Like there's all these weird tie-ins with these creatures that just, what do you do with all this stuff?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. And who knows, we were up at Snow last time. Everybody saw red orbs, multiple red orbs, but me, the last trip, and up close, like right out the window, even at the cabin, at the Snow Grove cabin. I'd have my back turned, talking to guys, and all of a sudden they'd go, you don't want to know what just happened. And I'd say, what? It's two red orbs just flew right by the window. And I'm like, oh,
that's
God.
So weird. That's so weird, man. I don't know.
Who knows?
It's a fascinating world. And it's a privilege to sit here and get to hear these stories and all these different encounters. And man, you've had so many interactions with these creatures. What is one of the ones that that really just stands out to you, that you're open to share? I mean, I know that you shared the cabin one earlier, and that's wild. That's so wild.
Oh, man, there's been so many, but everybody walked away at the end. So
that's good.
Is it that dramatic? Probably the most dramatic one was when I felt my son was in medical danger because of a Bigfoot encounter. We were up at Snell. This was after the first time we had flown back there now, and I brought Blaine, who was very skeptical, and he went up there, and I brought Jeff Meldrum with me. I brought a DNA scientist with me. And so we're up there, and the cabin got attacked late at night, and poor Blaine was, he had lost all the blood in his upper body. He was going into physical shock. He was shaking, and he had crawled into a nook full of spiders and spider webs because he was so afraid, like fear beyond fear. And I had exposed my son to this, right? And so, yeah, we all walked away, but man, I was worried about him physically because he was it was bad.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
But if you could have heard like the attacks, it'd be like, kaboom, on the cabin, right by your, right by the wall you're sleeping against. It does get scary because you're waiting for that next thing to happen.
Yeah.
Are they going to suddenly just throw a big rock through the window, come in and rip our arms off? That's the part that you don't know. You don't know the next thing. But here I am.
You're here. I mean, you're definitely here.
Walked away. Everybody walked away safe.
Yeah, you're fortunate to be here. I'm thankful that you're here to share these, because I think people need to know that this stuff is there and it's out there. Me and we talk about it all the time when we do these lives about, you can't help but think that sometimes maybe you're saving lives, because I think knowledge is power. And if people know these things are there, they might look at things a little bit differently. I know every once in a while we do a show where we do the connection between Bigfoot and missing 411, and we by no means are saying that that's always the case or whatever, but it's not a huge leap for me that these things.
Well, I can tell you a
way.
direct story, Josh, about that personal.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so you heard about my son going into shock. Well, he became a pretty dedicated Bigfoot researcher, quietly, never publicly, no Facebook stuff, and he just quietly doing it, right? Well, one of his things he would do is go where people went missing and camp right there. So now he becomes Mr. Brave. And so, here, let me get a drink of water. Sorry, I'm losing my crappy voice.
No, you're good.
Hey, real quick, in the chat, everybody, if you're enjoying the show, drop us a 1. Let us know if you're enjoying the show.
By the way, Hillary had mentioned that Chris Reinhardt, who's on our network, did a show with Tristan. And Tristan was the one that started all this because he had some recordings of this hum while this thing was eating next to his tape recorder.
Oh my!
And that hum went right into my soul. And I went, there's something here. This is not just a hum. This is not a bird. And then I talked to David about it. And that's how it kind of all started, from just sensing that this is something needs to be looked into. Okay, anyhow, back to this crazy story. So my son, my son was a big fan of David's. In fact, he said, I said, what do you want for Christmas? He goes, oh, give me those missing 411 books. Can you order those for me? And I thought, oh, well, I said, oh. So I looked it up and I realized it's David. And me and David have been friends for, like 30 years. So I said, I'll just call him. I'll just get a book and whatever. So he sends that. So he was a big fan of the missing 411 books, which gave him the idea to go camp where these people were going missing. Brilliant idea, right? Brilliant. That's what I thought. That was brilliant, Blaine. This is just brilliant. So I'll give you one example of what happened. There was a man missing in the Boundary Waters canoe area at Whiskey Jack Lake. You can look it up, Daniel. Mm-hmm. He goes missing. They've still never found a trace of him. They just found his wallet in his tent. That's it. No trace of the guy. And of course, he was camping at the shore of Whiskey Jack. Of course, as soon as my son hears about that, he does the 15-mile hike. You got to hike in there. You can't canoe in there. So he does a 15-mile hike with his girlfriend, and they hike in there. And of course, they set up camp at Angleworm first, and then they break up their hike into the next day. They're going to go. Well, at Angleworm, they had some drinks. They had some cocktails, and they went to bed and they fell asleep, but they left recorders out that night. During the night, there was like rocks flying everywhere. Wood knocks, rocks. They just slept right through all of it. They didn't even listen, didn't even know it was there. They go to Whiskey Jack, which is like 3 miles away. Camp at Whiskey Jack, where the guy got missing, literally camp at his campsite. And this time they're wide awake because, this is where they were headed to. This is where the guy went missing. They put tape recorders out. They have headphones on, both of them. They have a splitter. They're listening. And keep in mind, this is where a man got killed. And right away, the rocks started, boom, right next to their tent, rolling. You can hear them rolling up to the tent. These are big rocks. And wood knocks and screams and blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is going on. And to the point my son has to yell out, easy now, to calm these things down because they're going nuts. And obviously he's not dumb enough to get out of the tent. I think if he would have got out of the tent, he'd have become another missing 411 dude.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to the last guy.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I do. I think that happens a lot. Not every time, but a lot, man. It really does.
Well, we did a really good Google Map study of that area. Oh my God. There's like this cliff face near there, and there's like a hidden valley.
Really?
Where we think that they're living in this hidden valley. It's so cool. I mean, it's really weird, this valley, and this, like, nobody's explored it. it's a magical place. But to get in there, you got to be in really good shape.
That's not me.
Me either.
Blaine says this hike almost kills you because you got to climb over trees, and it's just a really rugged trail, you know.
Yeah.
And
Well, then
gotta
you get
carry
out
all
there
your
and
gear.
that's crazy, man. And you get out there and you run into something like this. What are you going to do? Yeah, I mean, you can't call for help. I mean, you're just there.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I could tell you this story. I don't know. Let me think a minute. Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you this story. If you want to get FOIA information from, let's say you call this might help people all over the country. So let's say you want to get FOIA information from an area. Like we want to see FOIA stuff. Has anybody reported Bigfoot in the Boundary Waters area? Right. You call the sheriff, they're just gonna they're not giving you nothing. So then call the search and rescue. So what you're gonna want to do is contact search and rescue teams in the area you want to FOIA for Bigfoot encounters, scary Bigfoot encounters, Bigfoot attacks, like campgrounds or where people have been. You get a hold of search and rescue teams. They're the ones that have the info because the government, these sheriffs and police, they farm that weird stuff off to the search and rescue because they can't be FOIA'd. But they're usually willing to send you this stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, we did this with the Boundary Waters. Bingo, 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 bingo. All these rescues from people who were attacked claiming Bigfoot. You know, they were so afraid they had to be literally picked up and flown out of there.
Mm-mm.
But you contact search and rescue teams. Not that you want to bother them, but they're the ones in the know of what's going on. I don't want to offend anybody by saying this, but there was quite a few extractions in the Boundary Waters canoe area from Bigfoot stuff. But it
I
didn't
believe
come
that,
from
man.
the sheriff.
No, I know in my career, man, anytime there's a missing person and things like that, man, we would go out initially in the search maybe and do a search pattern and do all that stuff. But after that, it went to them. Like, that's what they did. Like we didn't have time. Like we were busy, working traffic or whatever else, they had us doing. But yeah, man, I think that's the place to go. That's some good, solid advice.
Yeah. Well,
Really
it's interesting because police, sheriffs, they want to protect their job. They can't be getting interested in these kind of topics. They just can't.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get ridiculed, which isn't their fault. It's just the fault of the way people are. They're so close-minded, right?
Yeah.
But search and rescue, they don't seem like they're like, yeah, he's on this lake and this lake and this lake and this. We had to extract people. We had to go in there and rescue people.
That's
now
so
I know.
Weird to me.
Now I know. I'm gonna look. Whenever we look for more stories for lives or things like that, I'm going to see if I can send out emails to the search and rescue.
Sure, and just be, really polite and just say, hey, have you ever had any, Bigfoot rescues you've had to do or Bigfoot related, where people were afraid to leave an area on their own without, help and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But boy, we hit pay dirt just as an example at the Boundary Waters.
That's crazy. You never know what you're going to get, but that's a smart way to get that. To get that stuff. But there was a case back in the '60s in a place called Devil's Den, Arkansas, in a state park, really close to Northwest Arkansas, old state park. But there was a little girl. She was probably, I think she was. Do you remember the story, Daniel? I'm trying to remember how old she was. She was young. She was like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I would say she's like under 8.
So she's under 8 years old. And so they were out there with her family and they were out playing. And the next thing, she's gone. Right. So search and rescue comes out. They spend days and days. Now the terrain there is very hilly, cave systems, rocks, rivers, but it's just very hard to get through this place. So it was like 7 days later, they found her 16 miles away, walking out of a cave, unscathed, like nothing, like she was totally fine. You tell me how a little girl, 6 or 7 years old, goes 16 miles and is okay. What do you do with that? there's got to be more to that story than what they're letting on, or what, I don't know.
Well, there's been so many cases too where kids, especially, they find the child deceased, but yet their shoes and their clothes are like new. Like the kid didn't walk anywhere, but yet they find his stuff like 40 miles away.
I think there's got to be some kind of cryptid involvement with that,
or
that we don't,
or aliens. Yeah. Or aliens.
Yeah. Something we don't know. Maybe something we don't know. I had Daryl Denton on the show, I don't know, about a month ago. And he was telling me, great guy. He was telling me he thinks it's something else. Him and Martin have been like, it's something else that is undiscovered, but some other creature. But who knows? I don't know. But I think, like, guys, if you're watching this show and this has been a lot, you guys hopefully are taking all this in and learning. And what a great time this is, just the opportunity to learn from you, Doug. But if you're out there going out in the woods, I can tell you guys, never go alone. Make sure we say it every show. Make sure you know who you're going out the woods with. Make sure you have a beacon locator or something on you to let people know. Have a plan, and make sure you know the area you're going to. Because it's just, people go out. It shocks me how many people go out and they do this without a plan. They just don't. You know what I mean? They don't have a plan or contingency plan or anything like that. But man, your son sounds like a really brave guy, though, to go out and do this stuff.
One of the weirdest stories I've, could relay, and I've never told this story publicly, ever. And that happened to my older brother. He used to go into the Canadian Northwoods or up near like Ely, the real desolate areas. And he would bring these 1 square mile topography maps. That's it. And he would bring a backpack and a knife. No food. No sleeping bag, no blankets, no nothing. And he would take these treks quite often, twice a month. And he would be gone for like 10 days. Survival, whatever he did, it was like Rambo shit, right? And one day he did take my older brother, but his younger brother, John, took him. I guess Johnny told me, I was crying, begging him to get me out of there. And, but anyhow. So one day my brother's on one of these trips and he gets out of the forest and he calls my dad and he said, I need to come talk to you. Okay. And I remember, I'm just like, what's going on? Who's coming over? James is coming over and he's got something really weird. He wants to talk to me about something important. So he comes over and he talks about this trip, this Canadian trip, but he mentions that he had like a face-to-face with something very dark, right, in the forest. Now, remember, James didn't bring a flashlight. He had no fire. He had no nothing. He would do these trips this is, yeah. And he talks about this thing that he met out in the forest and how it changed his life. And he says, I want to move now. I'm going to move out to Wisconsin and all these changes in his life. What he wouldn't tell, he didn't say it was a Bigfoot. He just said it was big, black, and hairy. Okay, well, you figure that out. Well, yeah. Years later, after he had moved to Wisconsin, his daughter was over to my house and sees the Legend Meets Science poster in my office. She goes, my dad's really into that. He's a member of this organization called she's like BFRO or something. And I'm like, what? And so isn't that a little odd? And I think my brother took it as almost a religious experience, but obviously he came face to face with something. And whatever it was, they just stayed face to face for long enough to, whatever, change my brother's life. And he secretly was doing all this Bigfoot research. Nobody knew. I didn't even know until my niece came over. I had no idea. And then one day I was on the phone with Lauren Coleman. You know who Lauren Coleman is? The author. He's got the Cryptozoology Museum out east in Maine. And he goes, I just got off the phone with your brother, James. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I interviewed him for this book I'm writing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And see, that's the way my family works.
It makes you wonder how many people are walking around with these things in their back pocket and not talking about it.
I don't
How many
know.
stories are
Lots.
out there, man? There's a
Lots.
lot.
When your own brother
There's
can
so
get
many.
away with it for 20
Exactly. That's a lot. I know when I had my encounter at 14, I buried it. I didn't tell a soul till I was probably 31, 32. I mean, I didn't tell my mom and dad, didn't tell anybody. And it happened in my backyard. I didn't tell a soul.
Wow.
Just because I didn't know what to do with it, and this thing stood and stared at each other for I don't know how long, but it impacted me, and I subconsciously just buried it. So I think some people bury it and some people just don't want to talk about it, but I don't know. It's definitely runs in your family, man.
Yeah, like he ran away. I mean, he just it was crazy. It changed his whole life. He took it as some kind of major religious type. I think he joined the Mormon church. I think he thought he had some face to face with Cain out of the Mormon Bible or something. I'm serious, not joking.
Yeah, no, I believe
Back
you.
in the day,
He couldn't see. James had this. He was a Mensa member. He's such a high IQ that you couldn't even. He was like off the charts. My older brother, and I think he just couldn't just accept. Oh, it's just a big, hairy, some other entity or human-like thing living in the forest. He took it as this big religious experience, and that's that was his priority and changed his entire life. He donated like all of his money to he had so many patents. He donated all the money to the Mormon church, everything.
Wow.
So he went off the deep end from that encounter.
It's life-changing, man. And it really is life-changing.
Yeah.
I think people that have never had an encounter, they don't realize how much this stuff changes you. It's changed the course of my life. It's changed Daniel's life. It's obviously changed your life, in a major
big
way.
Time. Yeah. When in the 90s, when I found those footprints, it was like, okay, something made these. I'm going to try to, get this information out to the world. Because I was ignorant. I didn't know anything. And I'm like, well, why? When Matt Moneymaker told me, all these things are all over. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, well, gee, we need to get this information out.
Well, you've done that. You've done a great job and a lot of stuff for this community, man.
I've tried. I've given it a college try, as they say, Josh.
You've done a phenomenal job, man. Doug, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show tonight, man. That was incredible.
You're very
man.
welcome.
Daniel would not tell me. Well, he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me at all. I have tried my best to get out of him, and he was silent. Wouldn't tell me anything. So I was 100% shocked, man. What an honor to have you on. So I know you're busy.
Awesome.
So
awesome to be on, guys. I love your show. Keep it up, and we'll talk again. You guys have to stay in touch.
Oh, definitely will, man. Definitely.
Okay, sounds good.
We're going to lunch.
Being here.
Yes, we're going to go to lunch. Yes.
We're going to do
awesome.
lunch.
I'll see you at lunch, Daniel.
Awesome.
See you, Josh. All right. Bye.
See
Bye,
you,
Doug.
Doug.
Bye.
Bye, man. Wow. I don't even know what to say, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Daniel, I can't believe you did that, man. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, you never know with Mysteries Unknown what we're going to have. And that's all Daniel. He did all that. So not me. So yeah, one of the best guests ever, Antonio. You're right. Greasebag, thanks, man. What a great show. Yeah, Wade, thanks, buddy. Alexandria, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Daniel, thank you, man.
You don't have to thank me, brother.
Ashes says it best. Daniel, the man.
No,
the man.
I'm just glad that you guys enjoyed all of this. Yeah, I did this for you guys. I did it for Josh, and I just want you guys to know that I care about this community. I care about this channel. I care about our tribe, our 105s. And Josh, you're my brother, man. I love you. And like I said, man,
I love you too, man.
I'm gonna, if I take off, you're coming with me, man.
Same here, man. Same here. You, yeah, that's amazing. I don't have any words. That was really cool. What a treat. I mean, you never know in Mysteries Unknown, guys, what you're going to get, who's going to pop up. So We appreciate everybody out there. And Daniel's right. We care about this tribe, and I'm just excited to for what's coming in the future. So make sure to hang out with us next Thursday. Tell them about next Thursday. We're excited about this, man.
Okay,
before we jump off here,
you guys, next Thursday. I don't know if you can see how thick this is.
14 pages.
14 pages. We're going to be discussing some of the most amazing encounters I can find with the Mogollon monster in Arizona.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited. You guys don't want to miss that one. It's going to be really good. Guys, do us a favor, especially after this treat tonight. Make sure you're telling people about this show, that you're telling people about Daniel's channel, about my channel, and about these lives. We didn't interact with you guys as much in the chat tonight, but I just wanted to soak in as much as I could from Doug, man. He's done so much for this community.
Real quick, I sent the video that Steamboat sent in our little chat we got going on, and I was wondering if you have that loaded up.
I do not. Let me see if I can get it to. Hang on, man. It might take me a second here.
Hey, Kenny, thank you so much, man. Everybody, again, thank you so much. What's up, bud?
So do you want to save it for next time so I can get it uploaded? It'll take me a minute because I got to. Okay.
Yep.
Steamboat, we'll get that on there next time, man. I promise. I got it pulled up here, so I'll make sure we have it ready for the next show. But you guys are awesome. Cookies, thanks for subscribing. I got to say a shout out real quick to Howie, $4.99 super sticker. Thank you, Howie. That's awesome. Really appreciate that. You guys are great. Harley's good to see you. Don't forget that if you sign up as a member, $2.99 or more of this channel, you get a new hat like this sent to you. We're going to be a drawing for one hat. We're doing one giveaway. And so to be entered into that drawing, either be a member now or sign up for $2.99 or above. Shout out your channel real quick, Daniel, before we jump off here, man.
Yeah, so I do have my own channel. It's called The Cryptid Podcast. It is on YouTube. If you guys want to jump on over there and show me a little bit of love, maybe a subscription, a like, a comment, something like that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Show him lots of love.
I try to do as good a job, at least as good a job as Josh does. So I still got a lot to learn, and I think Josh is way better at this than I am. So,
oh, dude, you're great. You're great. Wyatt thinks we're both awesome channels. So that's good, man. You guys are awesome. Couldn't do this without everybody. Somebody, T. Davis says, someone tell him it's okay to be bald. That's such a random. Bald. We're both bald. So T. Davis, we're both bald. Frida says to tell Stacy hi. I will make sure to tell her. Good to see you, Kimberly. Jason, thanks for subscribing. You guys are all awesome. Harley, it's good to see you, buddy. Guys, I'm going to say it. And before I jump off, thanks again, Daniel, for that. That was what a treat. But guys, I'm going to say it. It's so very important, guys. Stay prayed up. It's the most important thing you can do. We'll see you guys in the next episode.